If you can see us and hear us, just say hi in the comments, drop your name, drop the name of your school. Let us know that you can see us and that you're here live with us on this call. You're live with John and Travis. We go live on this every Monday at 2 p.m. So if you can see us and you can hear us, just leave us a like, hit the heart button, say hi, drop the name of your school. We like to see the name of everybody's school. So you can drop your name of the school in the comments. And if you're new here, give us a hashtag new. And if this is your first time on us, just say I'm new in the comments. And if you're tuning into the replay, go ahead and leave the word replay. Just chat the word replay right there in the comments so that we can see that you're here. I like to keep track and see who's live, who's on the replay. That kind of helps us out a ton to see, if this is a good time for lives or if we should do it at a different time. So just go ahead and type the word replay if you're on the replay. Type live if you're on live with us so that we can see your name pop up and that we can welcome you to the call. I'm excited to be here. Travis, you excited, man?
Yeah, sorry. I was kind of we're tagging to people that wanted to get in on this, but yeah, it's awesome. I love when people actually tell us if they're on the replay because it notifies us on our phone so we can jump in and engage and answer questions and be involved in it. We were just talking about that the other day. So yeah, pumped for today, John.
Awesome, man. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good. We're going to be going through some of maybe what might be the most valuable, if not one of the most valuable live streams that we ever do. We were just at this event speaking at for martial arts school owners. And one of my favorite questions came up while we were doing our Q&A. That's probably one of the most common questions we hear. One of the school owners asked, what kinds of offers do you find are working right now? And my answer has been the same for like 3 years. It's a free week of karate, but the secret sauce is really how to make that money by giving away a free week of karate. So welcome to everybody that's joining us. Welcome. We're going to show you exactly how you can make money by giving away a free week of karate. I know that kind of might sound backwards if you've never heard us talk about this before, but we're going to give you a really simple formula. So a couple questions. What if you knew how to make a simple ad on Facebook that attracted an endless supply of people around your school who were interested in trying out your martial arts classes? And what if literally over 90% of those people who set foot on your mats from the ads that you're running were ready to happily sign up and pay you money on day one to come back and continue learning? And what if it was so easy for you to get those new white belts started that you never heard objections like, I want to think about it. Let me talk to my spouse. Let me check the schedule and get back to you. Or any other kind of lame excuses like that to not join on the first day. And what if you had an unlimited ad budget to reach that audience? That'd be pretty cool, right? So we've shown over 200 martial arts schools around the world how to create that exact scenario I just gave you. And we break about every rule that every mainstream guru is out there and so-called expert is saying when it comes to growing a martial arts school. And we break all the rules. Our success rate is way higher. And so how many of you guys want to learn what it truly takes to get some new students in the door and how to make money by advertising a free week? If you want to learn that, just go into the comments right now and say I if you're pumped for today. Travis, how's it going, man? We got some people on with us.
Okay, yeah, I've been so looking at because I got 2 screens going here, so I can look at your awesome face and everybody's comments. We got a lot of great people. We got some people that were actually at that summit, and I love how
awesome.
You mentioned, John. That's something that people ask all the time. We've been doing this for several years. And I'd say the number one thing is, hey, what offer do I need to have out there? In fact, I think you asked for some audience participation while we were there. And one of the biggest engagements we saw was that people were just frustrated and felt overwhelmed with the thought of all the marketing they have to do with special offers and posting and seasonal offers and kind of mapping things out ahead of time. And I just want to teach classes. So I'm excited to dive into that one simple offer that we can run year round with the paid trial playbook strategy today. Because there's a lot of info out there, a lot of noise, a lot of shiny objects as we've seen. So I'm excited to get into it. This is probably the most valuable thing that we've ever seen people take literally from this. And they can go apply it this afternoon at their intros and see instant results from it. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, love it. Love it. So get those pens and the pad and paper and pen and get ready to take some notes. We're going to dive into this. We're going to give you some actual stuff that you can actually go implement today if you want to. So it's going to be a wake-up call for a lot of martial arts school owners too. So go into the comments right now if you've ever tried to give away a free week of classes. Just type me in the comments if you've ever tried giving away a free week, even if it was like a total waste of time, a complete failure. You didn't enroll any students, or maybe nobody even came in for that free week. But if you've ever tried to give away a free week of karate, just type me in the comments if you've at least tried it before. So I think we got a little bit of a delay, but I'll be looking for that and see if anybody's tried that before. So anybody coming in yet? No, nobody's tried it. Oh, yep. Crystal's tried it. Looks like, yep. John Brinkley's been using our system, starting to kick. All right. Lori Ann's tried it.
Oh,
Awesome.
John's an example of someone that, while people are saying he looks like a lot of people, John went in and implemented it and saw the results right away. So I'm excited to have him here. He could be a good example, or maybe just trying to fine tune the process to make it even better.
Awesome. Very cool. So we're going to jump into this. If you haven't given away a free week, if you've never tried that yet, type not yet in the comments, just so we can kind of get a gauge of where everybody's at. So if you've tried it, type me. If you haven't tried it, type not yet. And we're going to jump into it. So we're going to be going through how to make money by offering a free week of karate. And if you can just go into our group and you can see some of the success stories, and you'll see how well this works. I mean, we've enrolled like 12,000 paying students with this one single offer, just offering a free week. So it can be amazing for growing your school if you know how to do it, if you know how to position it, and if you know all the stuff that you need to do behind the scenes. There's a lot of times where some gurus and some experts might say things about giving away a free week, and it could be a total waste of time, a huge waste of money. And so the way that most people run this offer, it either yields like no tangible results at all, or it generates a bunch of, one of my favorite new terms, mat jumpers, who are not really interested in trying out the school. They just want to jump on the mat, try your free week, and then jump to the next place. So if you don't have the right systems in place, it's not going to be predictable. We're going to try and cover all that with you with the time that we have today. So what we're going to be covering today really is, how to make money by giving away the free week of karate. We've seen it over the past couple of years. We've literally enrolled over 12,000 paying students from this exact system. So, and again, we're breaking all the rules. We're not doing it the way that most people say. We're actually doing the opposite of what everyone's teaching, and we're gonna really lead you down the correct path so you can see how to actually make money by giving away that free week of karate.
Yeah, I mean, there's also some ideas about getting insight about what's possible for your school, right? Because not only is there this like kind of like I guess I'll market if I have to kind of thing, because honestly, that's probably a result of maybe not getting good return on your investment. Because if your marketing was just crushing it, I don't think any of us would say, well, I guess I'll do it if I have to, right? We'd be pretty fired up about that opportunity. So then the other thing is like we said earlier, there's a lot of different things you could be doing for marketing. So it kind of creates confusion or just uncertainty. And it's just not a comfortable area to be in when you don't have that thing you can go to. So we want to make sure that what we walk away with today is actually going to get a return and a measurable result. That way you can get cash flow positive, because you guys are a small business. Cash flow is king for small businesses. You need to have it. It's an important aspect. We can't have a long lag fact, like 6 months later, we finally see a return. We need this to be pretty much right away. In fact, Lee Matthews Page has commented he's offering a free week of classes prior to signing up. I'm glad you're here, Lee, because this process will actually allow you to get cash flow on the first day of that free class, that free trial, which is important because you need that for cash flow for marketing, to run your business. And we also need to make sure that people are getting some commitment to your school. So this is definitely the easiest way to increase your revenue and profit for the school. So, our mission really, I say this all the time, is when I talk to school owners, I want to put them in position to take back control of their school growth without it being like a longer list. Because a lot of times taking back control of your school growth feels like I need to do more. And there's actually a way to do it less without getting bogged down with all kinds of sales tactics and strategies and all that kind of stuff. We can just put something in place that's going to work year round, that's going to work consistently. And it's really just a simple system that's going to allow you to get rid of the governor's orders or the feeling of the community, or is it back to school? Oh, summer's a downtime. There's all these outside factors that if we just subscribe to them, then we're not in control of our school. We're in the governor, the mayor, the season, the weather, all those things are in control of our school. And it shouldn't be that way. You know, we believe you shouldn't have to do these things if you don't want to. You should be able to just get people coming in the school. And you also shouldn't have to hire someone else to do your marketing for you. Is there a time and place for a marketing agency? Absolutely. We actually just talked about this at the conference we were speaking at last week. There is a time and place for that. But right now, even if you do have an agency, you need to know what's going on, right? You wouldn't hire a black belt to teach your classes and not make sure they knew curriculum and knew how to teach. You wouldn't say, well, you tell me you're a black belt and you've done it before, so go ahead. And then a year later, you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on over there, right? So what we found is that schools get the best results when they can focus on one thing. Because let's face it, not everybody in here has a staff 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. Most people, you might have a couple people on staff. It might just be you running the school. So to get the best results and repeatable results, so when you do hire staff, or if you have a large staff, you can have everyone implementing the same process, and it can just be a consistent thing all year long by offering the free week along with the upgrade system that we're going to share with you today.
Definitely. Awesome. Saw Steven on here with the BJJ in the house. Don't let the word karate scare you off. I know that usually we say, no matter what kind of art you're teaching, to advertise a free week of karate, because that's what most people call it. Unfortunately, we were at a tournament not too long ago, and it was a Kempo tournament. And Travis and I were standing outside, and everybody was walking past and going, "Oh, there's that karate thing." People just call it karate. If you're doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, it's a little harder to get away with calling that karate. You can still say jiu-jitsu. It doesn't really matter. The concept is you're advertising a free week. You're offering a free week. And so who's ready? Who's ready? If you're ready right now, let's go into the comments and type the word ready. Just put ready in the comments if you're ready to learn how to make money by offering that free week classes. So get into the comments. If you're ready to expand your mind, if you're ready to see what's possible in your school, just comment ready, and we're going to dive right in. So listen up. This is going to be golden. There's really just 3 parts to this. And the part 1 is the ad. So you got to run an ad. We got to get something out there. Part 2 is the intro lesson. And this is where we do what we call their better offer upgrade, where we actually are collecting money on that first day. And then part 3 is the flywheel, where we're taking that money and we're putting it back into the ad. And so that's the 3 parts: the ad, the intro, and the flywheel.
Yeah, the key here is really consistency, right? Again, most school owners are just trying to do the things the old-fashioned way. And some of those things are coming back, and there's nothing wrong with going to parades and schools and all that kind of stuff. But like I said earlier, if your whole plan for the fall is the local fair, well, what if it rains? Your whole marketing plan has gone out the door because of a storm system that came through. Or if your whole plan is, hey, for a month, we're going to hit the schools hard and we're going to go in and teach PE classes and get people signed up. And then all of a sudden there's a Delta variant outbreak in the school. Everyone's virtual for a month. Your entire plan for a quarter of your business is going out the window. There's nothing wrong with all of them. Those are great things that I was actually speaking with a school owner earlier that, last week that joined our program. She was like, well, can I still do those things? I was like, absolutely, you can still do those things. But the nice thing is you get to do them when you want to do them, when you have the time and you're excited about it, not because you have to. Because honestly, those things can be wishy. Has anybody in here ever been to one of these things? You spent all day there and no one showed up, or no leads came, or it got canceled just last minute. If you have had that, just kind of give me an emoji in the comments. I never have a good call word here. Steve has one. Yep, COVID's bad right there. So even if there were events, people might not be coming up to them. There's a strong chance if you guys have done that and you brought your staff, it totally burned them out. Like, it's really hard to go to a fair, get no leads or no new students from it, and then next month say, all right, staff, we're doing it again. Get ready, get your sunscreen on, because it's going to be a hot one today. Yeah. Right. So what we're talking about is getting consistent leads. And when we say leads, we mean name, email, phone number, weekly, like really, let me back it up, daily, weekly, monthly, all year round. And John's about to dive into part of that right now.
That's right. So that's really that part 1 is we focus on running an ad, and we pay money to get those leads because it's the most easiest way to do it. It's the most consistent. But part 2 is you got to have strategy to get those micro commitments all throughout the process. You can't just leave it up to chance. You've got to control the conversation, because leads are fine. Leads are great, but only if you actually get them into the school and then keep them coming back. And so we've talked with a ton of school owners who've said, I hired an agency. They got me a bunch of leads, but they were all unqualified, or they never came in for an appointment, or maybe they collected a bunch of leads at an event, or you've been to an event. I mean, I used to go sit with my son at the kids expo, and we'd be out there trying to get people to come over and spin the prize wheel. And, we'd collect names and emails and phone numbers of people. But, sometimes that stuff just creates more work. You finish your 2 full days. I remember sitting at the Blues Festival under the tent for 2 full days and just waiting for people to come by and letting them break boards and doing all of the stuff that you guys have probably all done. And then you go home with a stack of leads, and then that's when the real work starts, because then you got to start all the follow-up and all that stuff. And so you really have to have a strategy to actually get the leads in the door and get them on the mats, because we know once they're in the door, they're going to love you guys, right? How many of you guys know that? Once you get them in, they're going to love you. We hear that all the time. And so we found that your best shot at getting them in and getting them enrolled is if you get them into the dojo or into the studio, whatever you call it, within those first 7 days. And then we've got to get them paying you on day one. That's really the key.
Right. And we don't want to be pushy about it. We don't want to be salesy. We actually just this was our big part of our presentation at this conference that we were at was, this industry, what you guys are doing, what we're all doing here is about relationships and mentoring and building. And we want there to be a great connection with people, a conversation rather than trying to convince someone to do something. But we also want there to be a healthy and natural level of urgency, because if it's like, oh, I always can do this, or I'll do this when I can get to it, then a lot of times we don't really see any progress because there's nothing kind of getting them over that threshold of, well, I need to think about this right now. I need to think of, is this something I want to do right now? But we don't want to trick anyone. There's always kind of stories about salespeople tricking people and all these like strategies. If they say this, do this. We want to keep our integrity and traditional values. I mean, none of us in here, feel free to raise your hand in the comments if you like manipulating people, and we'll make sure we can get you out of the group. We do a really strong filtering process for those people that join the group. No one in here wants to manipulate, especially because we're trying to build a relationship with these people. So we just need to have a natural reason, a totally natural, understandable, conversational, easygoing reason to get people in the door as fast as possible. And then once they're in, another natural reason for them to want to do something that's even better than what they came in for.
Absolutely. Yep. And we're going to jump into the details of that, but let's get part 3 is what we call the flywheel. And what that means is you've got to have a way to a predictable and solid way for your marketing budget to come back around in a reasonable amount of time. So you've got to be able to run ads, and then you've got to be able to get out of it revenue as fast as possible. And we call it being cash flow positive. Travis touched on this already. The quicker you can generate this flywheel effect, the faster you can grow. So you can start with like a really shoestring small budget, and then you can just bring it up to the level of what you can handle. And there's this tipping point in the other direction. If you're putting money in and then it's taking way too long to become cash flow positive, it kills your momentum, it slows you down, you run out of cash, and then you have to turn the ad off, and it ruins the algorithm. And there's all this stuff that happens if you don't get this dialed in. And so we want to make sure it's super easy for our leads to sign up right away, make it even easier for them to, enroll and become a paying student. And we're going to talk about this as we get into part 3.
Right. And again, we don't want to mess around with any kind of fancy sales tactics or slimy tricks. That's not what this is. We want to make sure that we can just have a simple conversation with people that's going to lead to a 9 out of 10, really 10 out of 10. We like to say 9 out of 10 because we all know there's just that one person every once in a while. Doesn't matter what you do. But usually 9 to 10 out of 10 people are going to be enrolling on the first day just from a simple conversation. And I'd like to get away from this idea of, if we grow quickly or we're getting people enrolled and all that kind of stuff, then we're a McDojo or a belt factory. If we're advertising, all that kind of stuff. I don't think anybody in here feels that way, but I just want to put that kind of disclaimer out there. You guys are providing a huge value add to the community, to individual families. And if you want to provide more value to people, then you need a return financially so you can go out and reach more people. So this is not some type of, hey, how can we just get money into the school? This is a way where we can get people that are coming in a little bit committed to the school so they can experience the value. And then they're like, of course, this is worth it. and then for you to get fairly compensated for the value you bring into the table, and everyone's happy. When you're receiving what you deserve financially for the value you bring, and people believe in how much value you provide, then no one's mad about the financial transaction that takes place.
Mm-mm. Right. Exactly. I love the way you put that, Travis. That's really very concise. So I'm curious if you would go into the comments right now, everybody that's on here, if you're on the live or if you're on the replay, I'm curious, what are your most pressing questions about the training so far? I'd love to customize this as much as we can for you guys that are here on with us live. But even if you're in the replay, go ahead and chat in some questions, ask them away. We're watching these comments and we're watching the chat live. So if we can customize this to your questions, I'd love to do that. Maybe, is it what's the right offer to advertise? Is it how do I get more leads? How do I get more appointments, more people to show up? How do I convert them to paid trials once they come in? If it's something else, whatever it is, just go ahead and type in the comments, whatever your question is. We're looking at this. We're chatting live with you right now. And even if you're on the replay, put those questions in here. We love to just jump back in and answer those questions as well. So let's get right into it, man. Let's just start diving in. I'm going to start looking at the chat, Travis, and
yeah, I mean, and as people are typing that in, it's not just going to be kind of like, hey, here's what you say, training over, right? This is a system. This is a process that you need to have in place. Tactics are great, but we need to really have a system to put things into place and make sure all cogs in the wheel. If you have a watch that has a bunch of gears, if one of them isn't working, the whole watch breaks, right? So we need all the gears to be turning at the right time in the right direction. A couple people have got some comments. I'll keep monitoring it, John. Right now, Steve needs people in the door.
Okay.
That's his thing is getting people in the door is the first thing. And
Awesome.
It actually ties into, I think, probably the offer.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm curious, what's the best offer you guys have ever run? I love doing these kind of surveys to find out because there's always something interesting. My favorite, is like when we ask what's the worst or craziest thing you ever did, but this one's more serious. So I want you to think back over all the years you've been around and think about what's the best thing you ever did. Maybe it was an ad, maybe you were handing out coupons or you're doing lead boxes in local businesses, prize wheels, whatever it was. Put it in the comments right now. I love to see that. But what was the best offer you ever ran? And while you guys are all answering that, Travis is going to feed them to me in a little bit. But here's what the mainstream gurus are telling us. What they're saying, and what I hear sometimes, which is hilarious, is how can you survive if you offer a free week to everybody that wants it? Or they say things like offering anything for free devalues your program. You guys heard that before? How about free stuff just attracts a bunch of mat jumpers? That's one of my favorite. How about we tried that already? We got a bunch of people who just wanted free stuff, or we tried something like that on Groupon and we got no results. Like, what would you say about those kind of things? What would you say about all those different excuses? What do you think, Travis? Does that sound familiar? Have you heard that stuff before?
Yeah. I mean, again, let's flip it around. If we had students that came in and said, well, I tried jujitsu once, or I tried this, and they were at a bad school, bad instructor or whatever, just doesn't work for me. Karate's not for me. We wouldn't accept that, right?
Right.
Or again, if someone went to another school that was a lower value quality teaching and they're like, oh no, this kind of stuff isn't for me, we wouldn't say no. Okay, well, it's not for you. We know, hey, with the right teaching and the right process, this is great for everybody.
Right. And we've actually, this isn't our first rodeo. We've tested this and tons of different offers, and we've tried everything that you can probably anything you can think of or even come up with right now. We've already tried it and tested it. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that the free week offer is the all around best ad that you can run. It's the best offer. It gets the most leads, the best consistency. It's evergreen. You can run it 365 days a year. It never gets old. It's easy to set up. And then it's easy to seasonalize in part two, which we'll get to in a second. But the great part is I'm not telling you that you have to actually give a free week to everyone. In fact, you're hardly ever going to give this free week away. You'll see as we get later on into training. But what the free week does is it piques people's interest. And free and cheap trials, let's just dispel the myth right now. Even if you do give away something for free, it doesn't devalue what you're giving away. Because think of things like, look at the most successful companies in the world right now: Netflix, HBO, Spotify, Apple Music, Uber, Lyft, all these companies that are out there right now are giving away free trials. Why? Because free trials help people get hooked on something that's valuable. It removes the doubt, and it doesn't attract the mat jumpers and the tire kickers. But I will say that certain platforms do attract the mat jumpers. Places like Groupon or places like Discount, coupon books, that kind of stuff. People are just looking for freebies. Of course, that kind of platform attracts the freebie seekers. But when you're advertising on a platform like Facebook, where pretty much everyone is at right now, advertising a free week doesn't devalue anything, and it doesn't attract a certain type of person. Really, and we've even tried paid trials, because I know there's a lot of people talking about, hey, let's advertise this paid trial. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it logically. Like, why can't we just get them to pay for the trial online, or pay, tell them that they can pay for it when they come in? But what happens is we just see such a small segment of the audience that you can advertise to respond to that it might run for a week or two, or maybe even a month, and you might get some people to come in off of a paid trial offer, but it burns out fast. It's like a flash in the pan. It's not a long-term strategy. And really, even when it does work with a flash in the pan, it still doesn't work as good as a free week. And so, we've had plenty of clients, plenty of members in our program that have spent, $600 on ads, brought in like 700 on paid trials, and then enrolled like 6 students on top of that. That's a pretty typical result. We've had some school owners who have spent 600 on ads and brought in like 2,000 in revenue and, enrolled 15 students. So, the rule is about 600 on ads. You should at least get that back by the end of the month in paid trial revenue. And then you should enroll 5 or 6 students from those paid trials. That's pretty much the typical rule. It's not the exception. That's the rule. It's a normal thing. And so typically we always will get people, when we start talking about $20 a day or whatever it is, how can you afford to spend? What if you can't afford to spend that on Facebook ads? I know that most martial arts schools are not like, they don't have the big pile of money sitting in the back of the dojo. Every penny counts. And so what if I were to tell you that the ads will pay for themselves when you follow the rest of our process?
I'm on board, John. It sounds good to me. I think a lot of the people, the comments about what they did in the what they've done in the past is really tying in with this. It seems like everybody's kind of on board with this idea of a free week, but there's questions about the follow-up process. Steve said he did the Facebook ad for the free week, and it wasn't so much the ad, it was more probably his follow-up offer that was the issue. Evan has tried, bring a buddy in, they get a free lesson. So it seems like, hey, and maybe I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. Everybody in the room feels like, yeah, hey, some type of free offer to get people in the door is awesome, but how do we flip that around to make sure we're recouping our ad spend and people aren't just tire kickers just looking for that free lesson or that free week?
I love it. I love it. You guys getting value out of this? Is this landing on you guys? If you're getting some value out of what we're talking about so far, just type the word value in the comments. Just scroll right down, type the word value so that we can get some feedback and we know that you guys are actually getting some value out of this. I love seeing the comments. Travis and I feed on the comments. We love it when you guys are commenting on there. It gets us excited. Sometimes we give away too much information when you guys are commenting. So it's a good way to get us to give you more inside knowledge. So
it was like church yesterday, John. I don't think, you had to leave early because your back was bothering you. At the end of church, I had to do an announcement, and some people were giving me the amen. And I was like, wow, all right. And I turned to our pastor was in the back. I was like, now I see why you asked for it, man. This stuff's cool. And people are behind you yeah, preach it. Let's go.
Yeah. Let me get an amen. Give me an amen in the comments. Here, let's see an amen in the comments. Awesome. So let's do a quick recap. So how are we getting the fresh leads? We run ads. How much do we spend? Usually we spend about $5 to $20 per lead, just to kind of give you some background information. $5 to $20 a lead is going to net us about $60 to $120 per student if you break it all down. And we'll get into the details of all that stuff. But some people are worried they can't afford that. How can they do that? But here's the reality. We know how predictable this is, and we know if we put $10 into this machine, it's going to give us $100 back out. If we put $100 into the machine, it's going to give us 1,000 back out. And if we put 1,000 in, it's going to give us 10,000. So you can see when it's dialed in like that, and it makes that much sense. It's really easy to say, I'm going to put this money in because we know we're going to get it back out. So if this is clicking with you guys, just give us a value, give us an amen in the comments. Let us know that you're picking up some value.
Some values. Yep. Chris said value. Steve, John gave me an amen. Jeff is always on. Low when Jeff's on value. So we got a lot of people engaged in what's going on. And the truth of the matter is, we as business owners, let's step away from martial arts instructors for a moment and experts and masters and professionals. Because you own a business that allows you to reach people with your passion and things like that. If you don't have a way to acquire a new student, and if you don't know how much, if you ever watch Shark Tank or anything, number one, the first question is, how much is customer acquisition? Because you need to know, hey, what can I do in a predictable way that I know I am going to get a new student from that? If you don't have that, it's kind of just a hobby, maybe a really expensive hobby. Because if it's not getting a return, or you're kind of just guessing, then it's something we're kind of just doing. We're not operating a business in the way it needs to run. And I think Michael Delfino was in here once. Let's get away from the idea that this can't be a business. This is a business. You have business paperwork. It does, just because it's a business doesn't mean it takes away from what we're doing in the community. In fact, how great is it that you can run a business that's doing a noble thing in the community, and you're not after a money grab, you're after a value exchange. So we need to figure out, how can I exchange to get more people that I can provide more value to?
100%. Love it. I love it. I love it. It's some hard truth from Travis, but it's totally true. Totally true.
Bringing the fire today, John.
Bringing the fire, man.
Because of church yesterday got me all amped up.
All right. So on average, if you're spending like $20 a day using our system, we'd expect you to see about 45 leads. That's an average. Some schools are getting like 90 to 120 leads or so. Some schools are seeing more like 30 leads. So it really depends on a lot of different factors. But regardless, average is about 45 leads for $600 a month in ad spend. It's about $14 a lead on average. So leads are great. They only matter if you actually get them in the door, which is, who is that said that? Was it Steve that said?
Steve, yep. Steve, you had the offer out there, but the follow-up.
Yep. So getting them in the door is extremely important. We have a really, really easy and automated way that we convert about 50% of the leads into appointments, and about half of those will actually show up. And so that process is obviously for another training, but that's something that we could definitely dive into on another live stream. But what do you think happens when 100, I'd love to hear what your guys' predictions are. And if you've been on one of our live streams and you know our numbers already, don't cheat. But let's say out of 100 intro lessons, and we're talking about cold leads that signed up for a free week of karate, out of about 100 intros, how many do you think will actually pay money to you on their first visit? They come in for a free week. How many are going to pay on their first visit? Go ahead and type your answers in the comments, and then I'll tell you what our experience with this has been. But out of 100
earlier in the training, we did say it earlier.
We did.
Who was listening?
It's like a little quiz. Well, a little quiz on how well are you guys paying attention.
Virginia, who I love, she's always on here. I love Virginia's mindset. She's always on here to learn. She's like, I know what it is.
She knows the number. Come on, let's get some answers in there. I'm curious. What do you guys think? Out of 100 intro lessons, how many are going to actually take out their credit card on day one and pay for something?
Steve says 5. Evan says 50%.
50%. Okay.
Mike says 75 out of 100. So we have a few guesses. Okay. We have half. We have 5%. We have 75%.
Okay. By the way,
you can tell them, John. Let them know, man.
I'm going to tell them. I'm letting the anticipation build up. But also, if you're watching the replay, you can interact with us too. Go ahead and type your best guess, and don't cheat though, and like fast forward and then rewind and type in your answer like you know. So
how I got through school, John.
Hey, I mean, everybody has their thing, Travis. So our numbers are, if 100 people actually show up for an intro lesson, 99 will actually pay for a full month that day. That means out of 100 intro lessons, literally 99 will pay on day one. And you might think like we have some kind of Jedi mind trick or some master sales presentation. Somebody at the seminar called it the circle of life. we're like going through this big presentation and all sorts of fancy materials. And he was making fun of it. He was saying like, remember when we used to do this and we had this,
Circle
slideshow
life chart, and here's where you are on the chart, and here's where you will be if you
right. And we're not training our members to do anything like this. In fact, we've made it so simple that we actually tell them to just do it out on the floor with absolutely no materials in front of them at all. They just do it right out on the floor. It's a simple conversation. It takes about 30 seconds. We made it so simple that really anybody can do it. And that's why it's so effective. So if you're excited to hear about this, just let us know in the comments. Tell us, I want you to say, tell us in the comments and let us know if you're excited to hear about this.
So we're going to go through the actual process, John, right now.
We're going to
show them how to get. Okay.
Yeah.
I know we were doing that today.
Yeah. I think we're getting a lot of comments. So I'm feeling generous.
We got a lively group in here today.
It is a lively group. I love the lively group.
John wants to know. Evan wants to know.
All right. Awesome. So here's what we do. You're going to be so amazed at how simple this is that you're going to be so excited to go try it on your next intro. So obviously we run the ad for the free week. So we're putting out there, hey, come try a free week of classes. And then we just focus on that one step at a time to get them through this guided conversation. They're making tiny little micro commitments along the way before they come into the class. We're not talking price. We're not talking anything before they come in. And then by the time they finish their intro lesson, you will never have to convince anyone ever to do anything. They've made enough micro commitments. They've done enough little things. But where people get tripped up is they say like, I don't know how to sell anything, or I don't know how to avoid it's a bait and switch. I told them they can get a free week. I want to honor that. I want to let them take the free week before I ask them to pay for anything. And so the reality is, and the truth of the matter is, once somebody experiences your intro to redeem that free week, it's so mind-blowingly easy to let them upgrade. And I don't say make them or get them. I say let them, because we simply give them a better offer. So it's not a bait and switch. All you have to do is let them know that you have 2 offers going on, right? Everybody give me 2 offers in the comments. 2 offers is all you need. The free week's great. Student can come in, participate in their street clothes all week, no problem. The other offer is the best value, but I'll let you decide, Mrs. Smith. It's $67 for a free month, it's $67 for a full month trial. It comes with a free uniform. That way, little Johnny here feels like part of the class. And you just let them choose. It's the easiest thing in the world. And what you're going to find is that almost everyone, like literally 99%, are going to choose to pay $67 with the free uniform. And you might be wondering, why would they do that? And it's because they feel like part of the class. It's such an important part, especially for kids, but even adults. We all want to feel like part of something. We all want to be a part of the class. We want to be involved in it, and we want to wear the uniform. And so when you say, hey, look, you can come in here for the free week. You can take the next couple of lessons for free in your street clothes. No problem. That's what you came here for. We also have this other offer. I think it's better, but I'm going to let you decide. It's $67. You get the full month to try it out, and it comes with this free uniform. And if you've got kids, a little bonus tip is you're putting the uniform on as they're trying it on. We've seen this live in person, and it's amazing how well this works. And you're going to see, I always say as a disclaimer, 9 out of 10, but when we look at our numbers across all of our locations, it's really literally 99%.
Right. This isn't just like, oh, we tried it a few times. We've seen over 20,000 paid trials all over the country, small town, big city, small city, really high tuition, really low to like we've seen it come. Really, there's nowhere where we haven't seen it convert at this amount. And really, it's just simply because I think we all agree it's a better offer. I mean, if I was presented with this and my daughter came in, I have a 7-year-old, and honestly, when she started doing Taekwondo, I was kind of like, I mean, I don't know how much she's going to like it. I don't know if we want to commit to this. We have other stuff going on. So sign up for, I'm pretty sure I signed up for a free week. I don't know if the school was running this exact same thing, but when they came in, this was before, I knew about the process, I knew behind the scenes of things, but I came in for the free week, and then they said, well, she can do this. She gets the free uniform. I was like, well, yeah, that's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't I do that? To me, it sounded like I was getting it over on them because it was a value add. It was a value add for me. My daughter got the uniform, which she slept in that night. She was four or five at the time. She slept in the uniform that night.
I love the uniform.
Love the uniform. We could commit to a month because, hey, it's a month. Like we could commit to a month, no big deal. I didn't have to call my wife and say, hey, do we have $67 in the account? You know, you spend that on lunch now. 4 people go to McDonald's, it's $67 nowadays.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to worry about that. And if for whatever reason my daughter didn't love it, I wasn't like, well, I just paid $1,000. Like it just got rid of everything. So we could just focus on the value and enjoy the opportunity that we had in front of us.
Love it. Love it. You guys getting value out of this? Give me some more value in the comments. Go ahead and comment value in the comments.
And Steve, John, well, people are commenting that Steve Wilkerson, who I talked to a little bit earlier too. I think he was at the Apogee Summit, I believe.
Okay.
You know, he is a BJJ school, and Steve, we have plenty of BJJ schools using this process.
Yep.
We have a few Gracie schools, a few other just, they open their own school. They're not part of a franchise. And there's different things that we can interchange for the uniform. Obviously, if the uniform is 10, 12 bucks, like most karate uniforms are, that's a no brainer. But we have other schools that either have boxing gloves or t-shirts or some type of branded material. So that way, when they come in, they feel like they're part of the school. They're not wearing like a Spider-Man t-shirt in the middle of class. They're wearing a shirt with your logo on it. So it's clear, hey, they're a part of what's going on in the class.
I love it. And another thing too, Steve, I'd love to know what you're charging monthly, but you could probably go up on that trial too. We've got some school owners that are up around 97. We have one guy who's at 197 for his trial, 1 month trial, which is a discount to the month. So typically, if you're charging a good amount for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I'd imagine you probably are, you can go up on that trial. It doesn't have to be 67. We use 67 as sort of like a baseline minimum number because we know you can be profitable with a $12 to $20 uniform. But the main thing is we want to generate that flywheel effect, and we want to get some revenue in to cover our ads. So if 67, I know those Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu uniforms are super thick because you guys are throwing each other around. And so you can't really put them in a cheaper uniform because then they're just going to rip it. So you can just go up on the trial price. You can definitely go up. Steve, you're at 100 a month for, okay. So first of all, let's get the prices up, man. Get those prices up. National average is about 150 minimum for martial arts in general. Jiu-Jitsu is even higher.
Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu is usually about 25% higher than that.
So let's get those prices up, buddy. And one way to test out how high you can go on prices, and I'm not saying you want to gouge people. You definitely don't want to gouge your community. You want to provide a good value, but what you're providing is worth way more than $100. I don't even care if you're doing once a week.
If a family of 4 eats at McDonald's twice a month, that's $100.
Yeah. I mean, prices have gone up. So 100 is too low. Here's how you can test it, because the most important place for the price is in between your brain, in between your ears, in your brain, right? If you don't believe that you can charge more than $100, you'll never be able to ask for it. Next time you have a student come in to enroll, tell them it's 110. And then if they say yes, the next time, tell them it's 120. And you can grandfather all your old students in. You don't have to raise prices on people who are already in your school, but every new student that comes in, just take it up by $10 and find the sweet spot. And as soon as somebody tells you no because it's too expensive, then you can stop there. But I bet you could probably get up to about 175, especially with those expensive uniforms. I mean, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is probably one of the most effective forms of martial arts. I mean, everybody talks about Jiu-Jitsu. It's one of the most popular. You got to get those prices up. But definitely, yeah.
Steve said he likes it, so it sounds like he's on board.
All right.
I love Steve's mentality. He's here to learn and here to grow. It's awesome. But kind of speaking to that, John, you had mentioned where our trials need to be priced and stuff. Why? Kind of talk to us about that You've used the word flywheel effect. We kind of know what that means just based on our experience with what we do. How does this play a role in not only getting commitments from the client, but how does that help the school grow exponentially?
I love it. That's part 3. That was a perfect segue.
Perfect. It's like we planted Steve. Thanks that we planted Steve here today.
Yeah.
Help us with that.
Perfect. So let's go through real quick a recap. Part 1 is you've got to have a system for generating leads. Our system is running ads because it's consistent and effective. Part 2 is you've got to have a strategy to move those leads into booked appointments and ultimately as paid trials and enrolled students. Part three is what we call the flywheel effect. And what that really means is that you just have to have a predictable way to replenish your marketing budget every month. Some people look at marketing as it's like this mystery. And even at that summit that we were at, it was a lot of successful school owners. And when they talked about marketing, it was like this golden, chalice of mystery. Like they couldn't wrap their mind around how easy it is. What marketing really is just getting people in the door and letting them pay money for what you have to offer. It's really not that complicated. But I think a lot of school owners get into this mentality of, it's not in my budget to spend a bunch of money on ads every month, or they're concerned that it won't work, or that it's going to take too long to get a return on the investment, or even that it's worth the risk to try it. And maybe they've tried running ads or doing advertisements or sending postcards or getting in the mailers that go into the affluent neighborhoods. And a lot of the gurus are telling us to do that kind of stuff. And so when we hear that kind of thing, or we hear, my favorite one is when you've got a guru that says, listen, you've got to give it 3 months for the ad to ramp up before it starts to get effective. That's a long turnaround time for you to be expecting revenue to come back in. And so what's great about Facebook ads in particular is that you can do this on a shoestring budget. You don't have to have social media guru status. You don't have to have, 1 million followers. Your risk is so much smaller than the potential reward that it's really just the longer you play, the more you win. Like you're the house in this situation. It's not a gamble. I mean, you're putting in an initial investment into a great ad, and that's the key. You've got to have a great ad on Facebook. And then if you're using our play trial playbook, the way that we're laying it out, it's your return on your investment within 45 days or less. Sometimes it comes in even faster than your build. So like you run an ad, Facebook, depending on how seasoned your ad account is, like now, like our ad account doesn't even get hit until we've spent $900. So like we can run ads up to $900 in ad spend before they ever actually run our cart. And so if you did that, if you're in that phase of the seasoning of your ad account, you can run ads. And then by the time they ping your card, you've already had people come into the school and take their first lesson and pay you for the trial. Like that money's hitting your bank account before it even comes out. It's like this that gives you unlimited scale. Like you just have to decide how many intros you want to do. And then you just crank it up until you're there. And it doesn't really literally cost you anything because it's coming back in, but it's all in the system. And so our flywheel to start, our baseline, we always say, let's spend about 20 a day. It's about 600 on ads. That gets you the 45 leads or so, 22 appointments. If you book 22 appointments, about 11 of those are going to show up. 10 are going to pay for a trial. If you're selling it for 67, that's $670. From that, within that first month, also, you're going to get about 5 students signing up. If you're only charging $150 a month, which is about the minimum you should be charging, you're going to be adding $750 in revenue every single month. So this month it's $750. Next month they all stay, and you got more. That's $1,500. Then you're up to $2,000. $2,250. It just keeps going up. And if you look at lifetime profit, like from student lifetime value, if you know your student lifetime value, which by the way is another number that you should know, but your student lifetime value is, even if we go 12 months, that's like a 1,400% return. We usually shoot for about 10x, because if you can predict a 10x return, even if you do half as good, you're a 5x return. So it's good.
Yeah. And, I wanted to add to that. Virginia had a question I think is relevant to this idea of uniforms in this process. And it's great to see some people providing other responses. So basically, Virginia had a question of, what if she can't have enough, like they're on back order. What we found, Virginia, is if you have a consistent thing where, hey, you're going to have this many intro appointments this week because you have a machine that's in place and your calendar is going to fill up because, hey, I spent $600. I know I'm going to have this many intros. That you'll be in a place where when you get down to 20 uniforms in stock, it's time to reorder, because hey, in the next 2-3 weeks, we're going to have 20 intros that are all going to sign up for a paid trial. And then, so you always have a fresh stock, because it's not like, well, we'll reorder them when we need them. Well, you need them before you need them, when you have a consistent flow of students coming in. And that's going to help out with any type of supply chain or delays, because if there's a delay, you already have a built-in padding, because there's no risk for you in that, because hey, I'm going to get 20 intros in the next couple of weeks that are all going to sign up. So I don't mind buying an extra 30 or 40 uniforms because I know they're going to get handed out to these intros. But then also some great suggestions by Steve and a great conversation there. So kind of to that, what we figured is if you spend $20 a day on ads, and only enrolled 2 students a month for the next year. So you spent $20 a day on ads for an entire year, and you only added 2 students per month that fully enrolled in the school, you'd make an extra $50,000 in revenue. And I mean, that's a pretty good return. In fact, if you only enrolled 2 students a month, we'd be like, oh my gosh, what is wrong? What's not working? What's broken? How do we fix it? We actually, this has never happened. We do have one, I would say the most difficult ad account we've ever seen, where we just couldn't get the traction for whatever reason. There's a lot of variables in this stuff, but when I say the most difficult, like, man, this is something that we've been paying attention to and helping the school owner with. He still tripled his ad revenue. So whatever he spent on ads, he's made back 3 times. And this is one where we're like, oh my gosh, man, we got to help this guy every day, which is fine. We're happy to help him. But this is one where like he's making 3x his ad spend on an account that we would say, man, this has been a tough go of getting growth. So it's great to see that in the worst case scenario, he's got a 3x return on his ad spend.
I love that, man. Sometimes I even lose sight of it. I'm getting frustrated. I'm doing the same thing as you. I'm taking my hat off. I'm going, what's happening? But then, sometimes you have to back up and go, all right, it's not 10x, but it's 3x. I'll take it. Right.
Yeah, I just checked my 403B and it's not 3x.
Yeah.
So
nowhere near, not close. Awesome. So let me ask you guys a question. Are you enjoying this so far? Are you getting a lot out of this? Give us a yes. Give us a big capital yes in the comments if you're enjoying this so far. We've covered 3 things. We talked about the ad. We talked about the intro lesson. We talked about the flywheel effect. You guys enjoying it? Give us a yes. Give us a yes in the comments.
Steve, yes, with 3 exclamation points. I think he just jumped through the roof.
Nice.
John, yes. Evan, yes. Crystal, yes. This is awesome. Great to see everybody getting some value. Jeff, absolutely. Very cool. And the thing is, this is all designed to work together. We don't just say, all right, well, hey, we're going to do the free week and then we'll handle it from there. That works for it. This is an ecosystem that works, right? Just like you guys know, if I want to break a block, or if I want to break a board, or if I want to do something of that nature, there's a lot more than me swinging my fist as hard as I can. There's footwork, there's positioning, there's technique, there's weight transfer, there's all these things. And if I just said, well, I'm just going to learn how to swing really hard, everyone's going to laugh at me because like, no, there's more to it than that. So
I bet you guys get people come in every once in a while that says, I just want to learn how to take somebody down, or I just want to learn this one technique, right? I hear school owners tell me that, like, oh, I just want to learn how to do a flying jump kick. And you're like, well, listen, you got to learn all this other stuff building up to that too. And so I'm glad you brought that up, Travis.
Right, exactly. So these things are, like we said, are all designed. We've tested it. What's great about our community is we do all the testing and everything. So you don't have to go like, oh, let me go spend some money to test it and figure it out. We know that this is the best process that's in place. And that way it's just going to work year round. The ads lead to people coming in. The people come in, they sign up for a paid trial, then they're going to sign up as a student, but the paid trial pays for the ads, which is going to lead to more people coming in. And it just becomes this cycle where more and more people are coming in regularly, and you're just able to do intros and teach classes.
Love it. I love it. See a bunch of yeses coming in still. That's awesome. So again, we talked about the ad, the intro, and the flywheel. Maybe you guys are thinking that are on here right now, you're thinking, yeah, but how specifically do we do this? Like maybe you're wondering, like, how do I set up the ads that generate this fresh flow of leads every day? Well, what if we had systems and processes built around creating those exact ads? In fact, what if we had a copy and paste template that you could literally just import right into Facebook and it sets it up for you? What if we have these conversations that convert to leads and appointments? And what if we had a strategic plan on how to carry out the conversations, exact systems and processes in place for you right now? And maybe you're wondering, how do I create this flywheel effect? Or what if I had, how can I guarantee and how can I be so sure that if I put money into this ad account that I'm going to get money out of it? And what if I told you that we had specific systems and processes for creating that flywheel effect that are already set up for you right now? And so what I would like to do right now, we've been on about a lot longer than I thought we'd be.
Yeah, in fact, John, before you
started,
get to that, I actually have to jump off because the last time we had this training, someone commented that they wanted some help. I talked to them and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to go figure it out on my own." That was like 6 weeks ago. And then they reached out. They wanted to talk today because they were like, "Look, can we just talk about how you can get me going?" So I actually have to jump off because there's some people that are like, "Hey, you have that. I want that." So
we went long.
You do your thing.
5 minutes.
I love everyone in the group. We went long because it's such a great group, which is fine with me. It's awesome. I love it. And I'll be looking forward to talking to you guys later.
Awesome. So maybe some of you guys have got some invitations to send out. So maybe you're on the line right now and you want to grow your school's enrollment, or you want more students, but you're not exactly sure how you're going to do that. Maybe you're struggling with creating ads or getting leads or converting to paying students or creating that flywheel effect. And you're trying to figure out how you're going to give that budget back to marketing and continue to do things. And so we want to help you. We want to help you figure this out. We want to get your school into a place where, where students are, where it's more profitable, and then where you could, maybe even higher than you've ever dreamed of. And on top of that, we've got members right now that are having an amazing effect on their communities. They're giving back. They're able to touch the lives of so many new students. And we want to give you that too. And so if you are on right now and you'd like to get an unlimited flow of new leads on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and you want to use a proven system to bring those leads into your school, onto your mats, and you want to enroll them in your classes, you want to create a flywheel effect for your marketing budget so that you don't have to worry about where your next white belt's coming from, just type in the comments right now the word GROW, GROW. And if you go right into the comments right now and type the word GROW, what's going to happen is once Travis is done with his call and once we're done wrapping up around here, we have programs that we're working with school owners all over the world right now, and it's working like crazy. And you've seen some of our members actually on the line already, and you're seeing the results that they're getting, and they're crushing it, absolutely crushing it. And these are not flukes. This is the norm in our student magnet program. And so we're helping some of the most successful and profitable school owners in the world right now. We don't work with a bunch of slouches. Our vision is to create an army of the most profitable, quality martial arts schools. And so, I hear a lot of buzz about McDojos and how all these people are watering down their curriculum, but they have these full classes. And I'm like, the best way to crush these guys out of the market is to just out market them, right? If we get better at attracting students, they're not going to fall into one of those McDojos. So if you have quality instruction and you're ready to grow your school, just type the word GROW into the comments right now. I see we've already got a couple of comments here. GROW. Steve, I see you. John, I see you. Awesome. 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 What's going to happen is, we have a team of here. It'll probably be myself or Travis. And we're going to just have a conversation with you. We're just going to jump on a call and see if it's a good fit. There's nothing for sale on this call. It's what we call a game plan call. And you literally can't buy on this call. You can't pay us for anything. You can leave your credit card in your wallet for this call. We're not going to be talking about that. What we're going to do is just dive into your school. We're going to see what challenges are you running into, what problems are you running into. And then from there, if it's a good fit, if you think it's a good fit and we think it's a good fit, we'll tell you about the next steps of moving on and working closer with us. And, if for some reason it's not a good fit, we might even refer you to somebody else that can help you out better. We have a ton of friends in the industry. We have a ton of resources that we can point you toward. We might point you toward like a free training or something if we feel like you're in a position to need something else before you start working with us. So we're not here to just, if our only qualification is not, does your credit card run? We have other qualifications to make sure that you're getting the right value and that we're getting the right value. So if that's you and you feel like you'd like to know where you land on that spectrum, just type the word GROW and either myself or Travis will reach out to you and see if we can help. And I know we've had, a numerous amount of members say that this was the absolute best decision they've ever made for their school. And I know for me, it's way more rewarding to see all of these school owners break free from this agency trap. And not to say that there's anything wrong with hiring an agency, but it's really not that hard to do. And once you know how to do it, if you choose to hire an agency, that much better of how to hire the right one and how to know if they're doing well. So if you're interested in just learning more what it looks like, just type grow into the comments right now, and either Travis or I will reach out either today or tomorrow, and then we'll see if it's a good fit. And no matter what, it's just going to be an easy call. What you can basically expect is we're interested to find out what's going on in your school. We want to know what part of this process might be missing, what challenge you might be facing, and really just learning about, how we could help, and then going through the actual strategy and game plan of what those next steps that you can personally take in growing your school. And, one thing too is something that is in our hearts is that we're not looking for just school owners who are just out to make a bunch of money and cash grab without serving their student base. So we're not looking for the McDojos or the belt factories. And I know we're pretty good about not even letting anybody like that into this group that you're watching this in right now. But if you snuck in, don't bother. We'll be able to sniff you out. And so, I know we talk a lot about money and we talk about getting students and collecting tuition, but deep down, what really drives us is that ultimately at the end of the day, it's about impact, right? It's about touching the lives of your students. And it's all about the ways that you're going to provide value to your neighborhood and to the families that come to the school and the legacy that you're going to leave. And, we see clients all the time and members of our community that are teaching kids with autism how to defend themselves and how to create more focus. And that's really what drives us. We've seen it firsthand. And, the school owners that we truly want to work with are the ones who truly want to serve their communities and who truly want to make an impact in the lives of their students. That's a core driver for how we operate. So if that's you, if you're a school owner who's passionate about teaching martial arts and you want to make a difference in your community and in the lives of the students that you're working with, then we are the right guys for you. And so as we wrap up here, I just want to give out one more invitation to those of you who would like to potentially work with us and have us help you grow your school with our lead generation strategies and with our ads and with our systems and our conversation process and the flywheel effect. Just type in the comments grow. If you're on the replay, you can type the word grow, and somebody from our team is going to reach out and see what's going on. And you're going to get a ton of insight about what's truly going on in your school just from this call. It's going to be a quick call, 10, 15 minutes at the most. And if you're a good fit, then Travis is going to tell you, he's going to tell you, hey, it's a good fit and here's what works. And we can show you what the next steps are to bring you in. And our members are doing some amazing things with it. And we hope that we can help you get those same results too. And so this is the final time I'm going to say it. Just go into the comments, type the word grow right now. And then somebody on our team is going to reach out. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. It's a very lively group today. So we had a ton of fun. I love it when it's so interactive like this. And I hope you got a lot of value out of this. I hope you really enjoyed it. And that's all I've got for you today. So we'll see you next Monday in this group at 2 p.m. Eastern. So have a great rest of the day. Thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.